All right, let's talk about what your best diet would entail. So there's this balance between reading scientific studies geared towards what a healthy diet would entail, and then also just being able to reflect and feel, be in tune with yourself, and kind of just trial and error and test out different eating methodologies so that you can determine which diet works with your genetics. And so with scientific studies, for instance, I don't even really put the energy into memorizing the details. I mean, that's cool if you can, if you have that headspace, but I kind of just read the study and then determine right then and there if it makes sense, if I want to test it out, and then it kind of progresses into a phase of me reflecting and deciding if I like the way it makes me feel, and just feeling that out. And not just if it makes me feel, because you can drink a fuck ton of caffeine and feel great, I guess, but also just being honest with yourself on, is that really giving you plentiful, lively energy, or are you just kind of alert and too many nervous stimulants that are going to tire you out, kind of thing. So there's a balance with that too. But basically what I'm getting at is take the scientific studies into consideration, but also set an intention and then pair foods with that intention. So this past year I kind of changed my life because I had this intention of just not wanting any more crashes throughout the day. I wanted to feel lively, vibrant. I wanted to have a stable, consistent energy and focus and mental clarity. And it's different with everybody, but with me, I was just super sensitive to starchy, some carbs. I guess fat was just a lot more sustainable energy source. And yeah, it is, scientifically, that's what it is. But with me, I was just extra sensitive to the crash that carbs would bring. So if I ate pasta or bread or anything like that, I was crashing. And going through that classic, lunch fog throughout the day, and it just it was fucking up my workflow. So basically, after listening to my body, researching up on studies, kind of just reflecting on what would work with me, I came to fasting. So I started with 16 hours of fasting, and then that kind of progressed into 18 to 20 hour fasts. And then after that followed which foods I ate and in what order I ate them and how I grouped them together so that I digested in a very smooth way, so that I wouldn't get that mental fog from my body trying to digest inefficiently. So what that entailed was my first meal was eating a bowl of fruit, which is because I guess that food group is very easily digestible, and then I would follow that by vegetables, a bowl of vegetables, or yogurt with nuts and seeds, maybe some honey and cinnamon in there. And then my last meal would be more of my proteins, so my meat, my eggs. So that was the second stage. And then the third stage was basically the foods that I was eating was going to be mostly paleo, with the exception of goat milk yogurt and maybe some Ezekiel bread, an Ezekiel bread tortilla that's from sprouted grains, because that was easier on the digestive system. So that was the second phase. And then the third phase was, okay, now I'm getting to a point to where I red meat and even chicken, lean meats aren't aligning with this intention that I set. And the only meat that is fish. So that progressed into a paleo kind of pescatarian diet on top of 18 to 20 hour fasts. And this is all throughout the work week. I'm pairing it with the work week. On the weekends it's more cheat, but obviously it's not intense cheating because I have a grocery bill that I only buy healthy foods with. So really the only things I'm cheating on is if I go out, with my wife or with some friends, and if we're drinking. So yeah, that was kind of the process of me just reflecting, listening to my body that went with this intention. And once I got there, I was vibing. I mean, I was vibing throughout the process too, because I was just step by step, I was feeling more alive, feeling more sustained energy and clarity. I didn't know life could be experienced in this way. and other things too, like sunlight and sleep. Like all these components add to this intention. You just got to set the intention and then listen to your body, take other studies, like don't lie to yourself, and just have a balance of all these resources that you have. I think a very unfortunate trap people get in is they look at scientific studies for what they are, and they say, okay, this is what the science says, I need to do exactly this, and instead of focusing energy also on that listen to yourself component, which is so important because we're all different, and hey, like maybe what works with me is going to work with you, but maybe it's not. So that's why just that being able to feel is so important. Oh, and then I'm going to wrap up with this concept of metabolic flexibility. So I get to this place of sustained energy, I do an extreme fasting during the week, and then all of a sudden I'm listening to myself and I feel like I can eat other lean meats now. So like chicken, I can eat chicken now, and on top of fish. I haven't gotten to a point of where I'm ready to eat red meat. It just doesn't feel right with the intention that I've set. But now I'm more flexible with eating carbs too. Like I can eat pasta and bread and rice, and I'm not going to crash as bad. I'm not eating a shit ton of it, but whenever I do eat it, it's not as bad as what it used to be. And also the order in which I eat foods, how I group them together, I don't have as negative side effects as I would have earlier. So that's just like interesting, how this concept of resetting your system. Maybe that's for another video in and of itself. But yeah, just wanted to share my experience. What do you think? Are you the type that kind of just listens to the scientific studies and you're like, hey, like this was tested, I'm doing exactly this? Or do you have a balanced approach of listening to your body too? Just kind of testing out. Like we have an entire life to test out, like listen to our bodies and go through different phases of diets. I feel like our diets in a lot of ways can reflect our mindset at a certain point in life, and just kind of like where we're at. So, oh man, my dog, he just loves this bone. All right, but yeah, let me know what you think in the comments.